Okay, this presentation is here to show you how to set up your backyard observations and signs of spring assignment. This is an assignment. The idea here is to get you to be paying attention to your environment on a day-to-day basis and to be watching for signs of spring. It's March, it's April, and it's May, and we should have some big changes happening. And I don't want you looking at your screen the whole time. I want you going outside and doing stuff. So I thought of three things that you could do four things really you can do to watch spring progress through this period. Number one is to monitor the daily temperatures. Presumably it warms up in spring, but maybe not. Number two is to monitor precipitation, to watch how much it rains, when it rains, if it rains. Number three, and this is probably the second most complicated part of all, is to monitor changes in the sun. And we'll talk about that soon. There's different ways to do that. I'll set up a really simple way to do it. And lastly, I want you to be carrying your camera around and just take snapshots of things that seem like it's a sign of spring. The opening of a blossom, the arrival of a bird, some weird bugs that you happen to see, whatever, stuff like that. And I'll show you how to record this. Let's start with temperature. So I emailed you early in the semester that you need to get a thermometer that has a high and low recording device. I have this thing right here. Can you zoom in here and take a look at it? Okay, I hope you can. This device here, the current temperature is in red, and blue is the low of the day, and green is the high of the day. And then in the back there's this little, actually up front there's this little device that lets you push up the green and the blue and snug it up to what the temperature is right now. Today as it warms up, the red meter will go down, and it will push the green down and leave it there when it cools down again. So I can come in once a day and measure the high. It also does the same thing to the blue. It pushes it to the cold, and when it warms up again, the red hand leaves it behind. So I love this. It's simple, it's straightforward, and all you have to do is check it out once a day and record where I'm telling you to record your highs and lows. So where do you put this is really important, because if I just leave this out here and the sun shines in the middle of the day, I'm going to get a false reading, because the sunlight is going to warm up the temperature and push it up to 90 or 100 degrees, and that's wrong. We want the temperature of the air, not the temperature of the thermometer with the sun on it. Likewise, you don't want to take a thermometer like this and put it up against the house, because the house itself is kind of warm and you're not going to get a good reading. So the best place is in a shady place out in the middle of a yard. If you have that, great. If you don't have that, do the best you can and do your readings. But as you place your thermometer, just be thinking, I want the temperature of the air outside, not warmed up by the sun or by a building or anything else. Okay, so that's the first thing, pretty straightforward. The second thing is monitor the precipitation. Just if it rains, I want you to know how much it rained and not rely on someone else to tell you how much it rained. How do you do that? Well, you can go to the store and buy a very expensive rain gauge. Or you can do the cheapskate method, which is my preferred method, which is over here. This is my rain gauge. Key to this rain gauge is that the sides are parallel and it's fairly deep. Why is that important? Because if the sides were like this much rain would then appear like this in the bottom. So, and also, if it were like this much rain would look like this much in the bottom. So if you have parallel sides, which this pretty much is, that's pretty good. So we have to leave this outside someplace in the open where rain will come into it and not drip off trees or be shaded by anything. So hopefully you have some place you can put a little jar like this, or a can, or anything like that. When it rains, you've got to come and pull out your ruler and drop your ruler in and measure how much rain there is. Now, I've said my current version of your signs of spring assignment is measure in centimeters, but your version I will change to in millimeters. I want you to measure this in millimeters. So do the best you can. You might have to dip it several times, or take your own creative approach to figuring out how many millimeters there are. I have another rain gauge over here. it's a bucket. Works great. In fact, it actually rained last night a little bit, so I'm gonna measure how much rain. Ooh, I need to put this on a horizontal surface and put my rain gauge in there. Boy, it didn't rain very much. I'm gonna say 3 millimeters. Okay, so now I need to write that down. Okay, so temperature, precipitation. The next part is the hardest part. It's measuring something about the change in the height of the sun. There's different ways to do this. One of my favorite ways, which I'm not asking you to do, is just watch where the sun rises and the sun sets. Pretty hard to do. First of all, you have to be up at sunrise, outside, looking at a level horizon. So I thought about making you go to the beach every day at sunrise and watching where the sun rises, but I figured that wouldn't work. But the cool thing is, if you do that, you'll actually notice that as spring progresses and we move to June 21st, the summer solstice, the days get longer and longer, and the sunrise and sunset moves farther and farther to the north. And so the sun rises to the north of east, crosses the horizon, and then sets to the north of west. And you get these incredibly long days. And if you keep going north, eventually the sun doesn't set at all, it just does a circle in the sky above you. So I love to do that. But for the purposes of this class, we're going to do something very simple. All it requires is that you be outside 3 times a week at 1 o'clock. It should be noon, but because of daylight savings time, we're going to do it at 1 o'clock. So daylight saving times began back in March. And so now the sun should be pretty much directly south and at the high point of the day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. You need to be outside at 1 o'clock on a sunny day several times a week. And what do? I'm going to show you. Today is not a sunny day here, so I've set something else up for you in my garage. So follow me. It's not gonna work. Oh, darn. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. This is a phony sun. Back off so you can sort of see this whole setup here. It's a sunny day. It's about 1 o'clock. I go outside with my ruler. You could use something else, but I think a ruler is a good thing to have. Use your ruler for this exercise. Go outside and set up your ruler and hold it straight up and down. And it will cast a shadow. I'm not getting a shadow here in the shot because the light bulb, the rays aren't parallel, but the sun rays are parallel and they cast a nice shadow, as you know if you've ever watched your shadow before. So you hold it straight up, you check the time, pretty darn close to 1 o'clock. Mark where you put your ruler, and then mark where the top of your shadow is. Good, I have 2 marks. Measure the distance between the marks. That's your measurement for the day. That's all you have to do. What do you think you're going to see? I'll tell you what I think you should see. Very little difference from day to day, maybe a little bit. There's also going to be some error in your measurement, which is going to obscure what's happening. But as the weeks progress, the sun will be higher and higher in the sky, and at noon, your shadow will be shorter and shorter. So hopefully, as you collect this data over our short semester, you will see that your measurement gets shorter and shorter as we approach the end of the class and as we approach the summer solstice. Okay, take a look at this. This is your assignment. Hopefully you've looked at it already. If not, go to our Moodle site and download it. And you will be using this to enter your data. I guess we have temperature, highs and lows, and precipitations on a daily basis every week of the class. Down below we have your sun observations. And in the back we have the 4th thing I want you to do for this class, which is your signs of spring. So for signs of spring, pretty simple. All you got to do is walk around outside with your camera, go to nice beautiful places, or just walk around the block or whatever. Keep your eyes open for changes. Now I've put in some crazy photos just to show you how to do it. You will delete these photos and you will put in your 6 photos of an animal, like an insect or a bird or a new blossom or something. You'll just stick them in here and put a little text below each one. What is it? This is not a botany or a zoology class. I can't expect you guys to identify everything you see, but give it a shot and also say where you found it and something meaningful about it. Really just say something about every picture. You'll be doing this every week, so make it a habit to carry your camera around with you. Make it a habit to measure the temperature once a day. Make it a habit to think, did it rain last night? Do I need to check my rain gauge? And try very hard several times a week to check the sun. I know your schedule is busy. I know that it's not always sunny at 1 o'clock, so that's okay. But give it a try and we'll see how it goes. Okay? Talk to you next time.